Good morning grade 9s, and welcome to another video where I'm going to discuss how to do the product of binomials, aka whatever you know it as, perhaps as foiling. Why do we use foiling? Because of the order in which you multiply the two terms with the other two terms. First, outer, inner, last. But for me, and I think maybe for you, hopefully by now, you've practiced them enough so that you don't have to stress about remembering which one goes first, that it just happens naturally. All right, so I'm just going to go slowly through the first two, and then after that, because I'm going to move a little bit faster, because I actually want to get to the order of operation when using, when you are foiling or when you are multiplying binomials. Okay, so first, x times x is x squared. And x times a negative 3 gives you negative 3x. So that was the first one over there. Then the positive 2 is going to go in. So, plus 2x. And a positive times a negative is a negative. And 2 times 3 is 6. Then you will see that always this middle two terms will be able to simplify further because they will be like terms. And negative 3x plus 2x is a negative x minus 6. And what is left here is what we call, and especially when you start working with them with factorization, and I want you just to get familiarized with these terms. So it's 1, 2, 3 terms, and that is called a trinomial. Okay, tri meaning 3 terms. Binomial is 2 terms. All right, so as you can see, you'll always be left with 1, 2, 3 terms, something squared, something x, just a number. Okay, if we look at the next one, 3y times 3y gives you 9y squared. 3y times a positive 1 is a positive 3y. Negative times a positive is a negative, and 2 times 3 is 6y. Negative times a positive is a negative. 2 times 1 is 2. Again, this middle term should be able to further simplify. So 9y squared plus 3y minus 6y is minus 3y minus 2. Sorry, my pen is acting up a little bit. And there's your answer. Again, with the trinomial, 1, 2, 3 terms. Something squared, something y, just a number. Okay. Last one before, or second last one, sorry. I'm going to move a little bit faster. Positive times a negative is a negative. 3a squared b squared plus 3 times 2 is 6ab squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. Let me show you. A negative times a negative gives you a positive, and 4b times ab gives you 4ab squared, and a negative times a positive gives you a negative. 4b times 2b gives you 8b squared. So this two terms in the middle, I just wrote them in alphabetical order so that when you so that you can easily recognize that they are like terms. So I always multiplied, but in my head I somehow put it in alphabetical order so that they look, so that I can remind myself that they are indeed like terms. So plus 6 plus 4 gives you plus 10ab squared minus 8b squared. Again, 3 terms, which means it is a trinomial. All right, last one before we move into the order of things. 2 times 1 is 2, x to the power 3 plus 3 is 6, minus 2 times 2 is 4, x to the power 3y. Negative times a positive is a negative. 7 times 1 is 7, xy. And a negative times a negative is a positive. 7 times 2 is 14, y squared. Okay, over here you will see that the middle two terms won't be able to further factorize. So I just want to quickly make sure 2x times x is x, 2x to the power 3 plus 3 is 6, minus 4x to the power 3y, minus 7, oh, sorry, that's why I was doubting myself. So negative times a positive is a negative, 7x to the power 3y, minus, oh, it's a plus, negative 7 times a negative 2 is a positive, 14y squared. Okay, so the middle two terms, sorry, that's why it didn't make sense, always are able to further simplify. So then you're left with 2x to the power 6, minus 4 minus another 7 gives you minus 11, x to the power 3y, plus 14y squared. And there's your simplified answer. Sorry, something I saw didn't make sense then. Okay, now moving on to the order of operation when working with foiling or multiplying of binomials. You must remember that you must always follow the BEDMAS order. B is for your brackets. So you're always going to go to your brackets and try and simplify the brackets. If you can't simplify the brackets, and if there's two brackets next to each other, you're going to simplify those two brackets next to each other by aka foiling. And then we're going to move over to the exponent. So if there was an exponent over here, then you would move into the exponent. And then we're going to do the multiplication. So in this case, we're only going to have brackets, exponents, and multiplication. Now, please remember, I always say this 7 is knocking on the door. Knock, knock, knocking on this door, going on with what is inside here. But he can't come in. You first need to clean up inside. So the first is your brackets. And in this case, there's no exponents, or the exponents is to the power 1, so you don't even have an effect on the exponents. But lastly is the 7 that's going to multiply in. So again, if you see it like that, the 7 is knocking on the door. He wants to come in, but you must first clean up before he can come in. And very, very important. You can only drop your brackets if your brackets are in the beginning of a sum. Let's say x plus 2 plus 5, then you can immediately, because it's the beginning of your sum, you can immediately go and drop those away. All right, that is the only time that you can drop your brackets, is when it's in front, or scenario B is when you've multiplied anything that is in front of the bracket into that bracket. So over here, you're going to say 5, and the negative has to go in. And once whatever is in front gets distributed in, then you can drop your brackets. All right, so those are the only two scenarios. So when the bracket is in the beginning, or once you have distributed whatever's in front of the bracket into the bracket. Okay, so over here, you cannot drop your brackets because I haven't distributed that 7 into the bracket. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared plus 3x minus 3x minus 1. Okay, then as you can see, this will be able to become 0. This will cancel out, and you're left with 7 times 9x squared minus 1. And now you're going to drop your brackets, because once it's cleaned up inside, the 7 was knocking, now he can come in, and you are left with 63x squared minus 7. Okay. Number B, if you think of your BEDMAS, brackets and exponents first. So we're going to first do this part before the 5 gets multiplied in. And we know now multiplication is the last step that we're going to do. Sorry about that. Let me just switch my thing back. Okay. So the 5 is going to stay and wait. He stands and wait while you are busy cleaning up inside. Okay. So 5. So I'm going to expand that. What is the difference between this and this? Let me just quickly write it down here. Let me write it in another color. So if I've got 2ab to the power 2, this is the rule of everything inside the bracket is to the power 2. So it will be 4a squared b squared. This one over here, can you see that there's a plus or a minus in the middle, which makes it 2 terms inside? So what you need to do is you need to expand and FOIL. With this one over here, it's the exponent rules where everything inside the bracket is to the power 2. Okay, so don't get confused between these two types of sums, okay, or simplification. So I'm going to carry on here. A times a is a squared plus 2ab, again writing it in alphabetical order, plus 2ab plus 4b squared. Just somehow I lost my trail of thought there. The middle two terms can always simplify. Like that. And then lastly your 5 can go in, and that is when you drop your brackets. And 5 times 4 is 20b squared. All right, with this one, can you see that everything inside here is to the power 2? So when you've got a bracket within a bracket, you always start with your inner bracket. You're going to see whether you can simplify this inner bracket first. Okay, so again, how do we drop the brackets? By multiplying whatever is in front of the bracket into the bracket. Okay, so we're going to be left with a big square brackets to the power 2, and inside 4 times 2 is 8p minus 4q. All right, and again, we're going to expand. You can't say everything inside the bracket is to the power 2. It means that this bracket, so now I'm going to turn my square brackets into curly brackets because I am done with the inner brackets. Then you can take away, you can move to the next one. You can leave it as square brackets, it doesn't matter. And then I've doubled it up, and now I'm going to multiply out. 8p times 8p is 64p squared minus 32pq minus 32pq plus 16q squared. That gives you 64p squared minus 64pq plus 16q squared. All right, moving on. Again, the -2 is knocking on the door, but we're not going to let him in until it's cleaned up inside. Okay, so the -2, you just have to stand there. This one we're going to expand, and then we're going to bring the -2 after we FOILed. So m times m is m squared minus 4mn minus another 4mn, just writing it in alphabetical order. mn is the same as saying nm. Okay, because 2 times, if you say 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. Then a negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 4 is 16n squared. Okay, you can first clean up if you want. You could have brought that 2 in already, but I'm going to first clean up completely, and then I'm going to bring the -2 in. So -2m squared, and negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 8 is 16mn, and a negative times a positive is a negative, 32n squared. Alrighty. Whew, now look at these. Okay, so we have to do the brackets first. So we're going to FOIL this part over here. Then we're going to FOIL this part over here. And then we're going to add the two together. Okay, remember, when we are FOILing, that's not the reason to drop your brackets. Okay, but because this is the beginning of a sum, the red part, then you are allowed to start writing it without the brackets. Because remember I said the brackets are only needed the only time you're allowed to drop brackets is when it's in the front of your sum, or once you've distributed everything inside, something that is in front into the bracket. Okay, so I'm going to drop the brackets immediately. 2x times x is 2x squared, plus 2 times 3 is 6x, minus 5x, minus 15, plus. Okay, so I want you to get into the habit. I know the plus won't affect any of the signs going forward, but just to get in the habit of first putting it in brackets and then saying, okay, I'm going to take the brackets away once I've distributed that positive into the bracket. Okay, so x times 3x is 3x squared, minus 2x, plus 3x, minus 2. Okay, x times x is 3x squared, minus 2x, plus 3x, minus 2. And now we are allowed to drop our brackets. I'm going to simplify these two terms so long. 6 minus 5 is plus x, minus 15, plus 3x squared, not a plus, sorry, plus 3x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 2. So can you see that the positive there didn't affect any of my signs inside? It still stayed the same. The 3x squared stayed a positive 3x squared. The negative 2x stayed a negative 2x. Positive 3x stayed a positive 3x, and minus 2 stayed minus 2. It's only once there's a negative in front that it does affect your signs inside. Sorry, let's just put that 2 there. So 2x squared plus x minus 15 plus 3x squared minus 2x plus 3x gives you a positive x minus 2. Then if you want to circle all your like terms, remember to take his sign, the buddy with, and that color. Okay, so your answer would be 2x squared plus 3x squared is 5x squared, plus x is plus 2x, minus 15 minus another 2 is minus 17. And then we do normally write it, although it won't be wrong, but we do write it in order of exponents. So do you see x to the power 2, x to the power 1, and minus 17. All right. Okay, here is where it's going to affect your signs. And lots of you do not make space, or you take that negative and you distribute it to the first term and not to all the terms in your brackets. Okay, so I'm going to start by foiling this. I'm going to drop the bracket because it's in the beginning of the sum. 2a times 3a is 6a squared. Sorry, let me just fix that. 6a squared minus 2a times 2 is 4a minus 21a minus plus, because a negative 7 times a negative 2 gives you a plus 14, minus, keep your brackets, a times a is a squared minus 2a plus 4a minus 8. Okay, very important. Why? Because that naughty negative has to be distributed into the brackets to all the terms to make the brackets full. So you keep your brackets. Okay, a times a is a squared minus 2a plus 4a minus 8. Just checking myself. Okay, so 6a squared minus 4a minus 21 is minus 25a plus 14 minus a squared plus 2a minus 4a minus 8. So this time around I didn't simplify, but as you can see, minus 2 plus 4 gives you a positive 2a, times it by the negative gives you a minus 2 plus 4a gives you a positive, 2a minus 4a gives you a negative then. Okay, so it works out to be exactly the same. Then we're going to highlight all our like terms. 6a squared minus a squared minus 25a plus minus. So I've got 6a minus a gives you 5a squared Minus 25 plus 2a gives you minus 23. Minus another 4 gives you negative 27a. Just want to quickly make sure. 23 minus 4 gives you that negative 27a, and plus 14 minus 8 gives you a positive 6. Sorry, I hope I'm doing it right. I'm just doing it all out of my head quickly. 6a minus a is 5a, minus 25 plus 2 gives you negative 23. Negative 23 minus another 4 gives you negative 27. 14 minus 8 gives you that positive 6. Okay, let's quickly see how many. 3, 4. Okay, just want to see that one is sort of similar. So I'll rather just do these two still. Okay, these 4. All right. Okay, so over here, brackets and exponents. So first we're going to expand minus 3x minus y, 3x minus y. Then we're going to FOIL. X times x is x squared plus 5xy plus 5xy plus 25y squared minus, keep your brackets, 3x times 3x is 9x squared minus 3xy minus 3xy plus y squared. Sorry, doesn't fit in so nicely. So it's going to be x squared plus 10xy plus 25y squared minus 9x squared. So I'm first going to simplify this. Minus 3xy minus another 3xy gives you negative 6. And negative times a negative is a positive 6xy plus y squared. Then all your like terms, I've got an x squared minus 9x squared plus 10xy plus 6xy, and the last two go together. So x squared minus 9x squared is negative 8x squared plus 10 plus another 6 is plus 16xy, and 25 plus another one is plus 26y squared. Okay, next one. Again, we're going to, I just want to see how it's different to this one. Okay, so I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to get to this one, and this one will be our last one because the others are sort of similar. All right, so the 3n, how do I drop these brackets? By letting the 3n squared go into the bracket. So then I've got 3n to the power of 3 minus 3 times 3 is 9n squared. Minus hovers outside, wanting to go in, but not yet. We must first clean up. Okay, 2n times 2n is 4n squared plus 10n plus 10n plus 25. 3n squared minus 9n squared minus 4n squared plus 10 plus 10 plus 20 times the negatives and negative 20n minus 25. So do you see, very important, this negative goes to each and every term. And now we can clean up or add or subtract like terms. So I've got 3n to the power, oh sorry guys, that must be a 3n to the power of 3. So 3n to the power of 3 minus 9 minus another 4 gives you minus 13n squared minus 20n minus 25. And there's your simplified answer. All right. Okay, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day further. After this section, we're going to start in our school factorization, which is the opposite of simplification. And later on, we use factorization so that we can simplify further. So a lovely section, a very, very important section to please pay attention to. Please, it sticks with you all the way to matric. And I always say to my class, it comes and it bites you in the bum if you don't know your or how to factorize. So please pay attention in class. It will come back at you over and over again if you don't know how to. Okay, but hope you have a wonderful day further, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we do factorization. Thanks, bye.